So I had the idea for this blade a year ago, basically just a tactical triangular bladed dagger, kind of got a combat knife type handle, sort of. Again, triangular, so it checks off the Geneva bucket list. And yeah, you can't really cut with it. I mean, you can. I have actually cut leather with it. It's not overly sharp because it's a very wide angle, but it does work, obviously. But the main thing it's good for is stabbing, and that's why I made it. So yeah, stabbing things. That was actually really easy, especially for a water bottle.
I kind of want to start this video off with a bit of a bit of a funny story. So about actually just over a year ago, so this started, I was working the shop, I think finishing up some stuff for Christmas, and I'm currently filming this on Christmas Day. You're probably not seeing it till like April or May. It'll be a long time before anyone sees it, sees the film months in advance. But either way, that's not actually important. But this story happens a little over a year ago, where I had this idea for forming kind of like a combat dagger, where I kind of have like a almost K-bar style handle with a triangular shaped dagger blade. And what I wanted was a triangular file, like this one. But at the time, didn't have one, and I didn't really want to buy a brand new one. So I just kind of, hadn't gotten around to it yet. And so about this time, I want to point out that I was like very sleep deprived for reasons I don't quite remember. I was just working on stuff, just had so much going on, I didn't really have time to get a proper amount of sleep. So very, very sleep deprived. So not that that's changed much. I just drink way more caffeine. Works great. But so I was digging through some stuff, and I found this, the exact type of file I was looking for. I'd set it aside as just kind of a, I don't want to lose it in the pile of scrap metal, because, I mean, for stuff like this. So I find it one night while I'm working on stuff, and I start getting like insanely upset, like why the hell did no one tell me I had this? Like, someone should warn me. Why the hell do people like do that? And then I remembered that this is my shop. No one ever comes in here. I put it there a while ago, but I was going to put it there, and like, I really need to get some sleep. Because, it was no one's fault. Like, no one, hid it from me or anything. Like, my brain was telling me I was just really, really tired and probably should have went to bed earlier. Then I proceeded to not work on it because it was around Christmas and I had to finish up a bunch of stuff. So I'm just now getting to this. But either way, I'm finally getting to it a year later. I have a habit of doing that. So anyway, final little story. Yeah, you should probably get, a decent night's sleep. Don't do what I do. But from there, for my actual project, I'm basically going to leave this mostly the same. I'm going to heat cycle it, obviously, to make grinding it easier. But I am going to like hammer out the tang a little bit, so that way I can have plenty of steel with enough, spike blade. So I'm going to toss this in the forge and start forging. Okay, now that I've got the tang forged out, for the most part, got it heat cycled, my plan is I'm going to shape the tang up pretty close to what I want, or, what I want. Then I'll probably grind off the teeth here, which there's not a ton left because this is an old file. However, before I cut that into a tip, I'm going to actually make my guard, mainly so that way I can basically just take my thumb, with a glove, obviously. Yeah, it's still warm. And I can just, hammer it down a little easier, as opposed to trying to like hold it. And I just think it'd be easier to do it that way. So I'm gonna start grinding a little bit, and again, then make my guard. And honestly, from there, I'll be ready for heat treat, because, it's a spike. It won't really take a ton of actual like grinding, I hope. So we'll see. Okay, now that I've got my blade mostly sanded down, more or less. Still need to make the point, obviously, as I said before, but everything is shaped other than that. Just a flat piece of steel. Kind of gotta, if I don't drop it. There we are. Just a 1/4 inch hole that I just took a file in, just kind of filed it open a little bit. So that way this fits in it a little more. Not all the way down, obviously, but now I'm gonna do is just gonna heat this up in the forge and then just, you know, hammer that down until it fits. Then give this a shape and make sure this is nice and pointy so it actually functions as a dagger, not a awkward Renaissance fair prop, because I don't do that shit here. Not that I'm against Renaissance fairs, I just make real weapons. Now that I've got my leather nice and stacked up here for my handle, glued in place, I'm gonna start by just taking typical box cutter and just trimming off as much excess that I can with that. Then I'll probably just go to a heavy file and just file things down. And I'll probably just do a little bit of touch up with a bit of sanding. You know, nothing too extreme. I'm gonna take a Dremel. I just keep knocking stuff over. Should probably clean up in here at some point. But either way, then I'm gonna put some grooves in to kind of just make sure you have a nice grip to it. And then I'll probably stain it, maybe a black or something. Haven't decided yet, but hopefully that won't take too awfully long. Alright. Now I'm going to see how many holes I can poke in this before I knock it over. I didn't count, so if you did, put that in the comments. Ugh. Now, something a little harder in a water bottle. This shouldn't have too much issue. I've made similar-ish daggers before. They never had trouble with coconuts. Someday I think it'd be cool to get one of those like realistic zombie heads or ballistic gel heads, whatever they're called these days. But they're expensive, especially for just stabbing holes in. So for now, coconuts. Help if I hit it right. No, it did actually put a hole in it, but let's try giving that a bit of force. There we go. Nice crack through it. This has like no milk in it at all. I'm not gonna lie, never buy like whole coconuts from this